Full Sun FM. From the peaks to the trail, from the powder to the dirt. Welcome to Full Sun FM, where speed meets innovation and history collides with the future. We're Raf and Calvin, and today
we're talking about the wild evolution of extreme mountain sports gear, how yesterday's rough foam pads became today's high-performance protection, and from the sketchy bikes of the 80s to carbon fiber rockets. From straight wooden skis to fun, playful machines, we break down the whole tech that changed the game.
So strap in, wax up, and full send, because this ride is going to be gnarly.
I wanted to talk about a bit the MIPS technology, a great innovation that has forever improved the helmet incidents.
The MIPS technology was created in 1996 by Hans von Holst and Peter Halden. They started the research and the ideas of MIPS protection. Now you might ask, what is MIPS protection? So you might be wondering how it works. So when an impact occurs, the cyclist or skier falls and hits their head. And the impact is often at an angle, not directly head on. Then the low friction layer moves, and that's the MIPS system. It enables the inner layer of the helmet to move slightly, typically like 10 to 15 millimeter relative to the outer shell. So it reduces the rotational motion. By allowing this movement, actually the system helps to reduce the rotational force that would otherwise be transferred directly to the brain.
You've mentioned rotational motion. I don't think I quite know what you mean by rotational motion.
So rotational motion is when you hit your head at an angle, it causes your head to twist or rotate. This sudden movement can make your brain shift inside your skull.
And why would that exactly be harmful? I mean, of course it is harmful, but why is it so harmful?
Because your brain is soft. It's like jello or water. It doesn't stay completely still inside your head. So if your head spins too fast from an impact, different parts of your brain can move at different speeds, and that creates a stretching in the brain tissue.
And what are the consequences of these?
Well, that stretching can lead to concussion or more serious brain injury. That's why protecting against rotational motion is really important in helmets.
I mean, that's why people wear helmets now.
Yeah, and that's why most helmets now have MIPS.
Maybe we should talk about the real reason why we're actually wearing helmets, and that would be more like the actual bikes and the actual skis. So why don't you start off on maybe saying what evolved on bikes?
Yeah, so firstly, about the main component of the bikes is the brakes, which there's really two main types of brakes nowadays. Mostly one, which is the hydraulic brakes. You see it basically on every bike, and how it works is there's a force transfer from the brake lever to the brake pads. The brake lever is where you actually actionate the braking mechanism by using hydraulic fluid. The advantage of using hydraulic brakes is it's more precise when braking. The braking is more powerful, and there's less maintenance needed. Now, a disadvantage is that it's more expensive, and when you do need to maintain the brakes, it's way harder. Then the other type of brakes, which is usually less often nowadays, is the mechanical brakes. And how it works is there's a steel rod that you pull with the brake lever, and that pulling motion, it squeezes the brake pads at the where the brake is. And an advantage of using that is it's cheaper and it is easier to maintain. And disadvantages would be that you do need more maintenance and less powerful braking, and the braking is less precise.
Well, I mean, of course, mechanical brakes might be cheaper and easier to maintain, but we're talking about experience from biker to biker, and we've all experienced mechanical brakes and hydraulic brakes, and there's a big difference, and hydraulic brakes are clearly better than hydraulic brakes.
Clearly.
And that's the reason why they're used on the World Cup nowadays. Moving maybe on to something else on the bike, maybe about like the suspensions. Like suspensions, I mean, I've heard about biking back then, and most people didn't even have suspensions on their bikes.
Yeah, and well, it's really important, the suspensions, because that's what differentiates the mountain bikes and the road bikes. So in the mid 1980s, Brian Skinner invented the first suspension system for mountain bikes. It was a rear suspension. And then after, in 1990, Doug Bradbury invented the front fork with Manitou, which is a great invention, because nowadays we see every single mountain bike with forks.
I mean, it's exact like RockShox and Fox. They're such a big company now, and that's almost the only thing they do.
Yeah, and why we actually need suspension? It's really simple. It's a softer ride. There's jumps, harsh terrains, and we want a smoother ride when doing mountain bike. That's why there's two types of shocks. There's the air shocks, coil shocks, and each they have their advantage. Coil shock is more nimble.
I'm kind of changing subjects, and talking about smoother rides. There's a reason why skis aren't made with 2x4s anymore. I mean, a little bit the ski construction now is that there's really two main ski constructions that now replace the famous wooden ski. And the first one is sidewall construction.
Now, could you tell me what is sidewall construction, Calvin?
Well, actually, sidewall construction is multiple layers of materials, either wood, metal, or composite. They're all stacked and laminated together. And then there's two vertical sidewalls made from ABS plastic or other materials that provide an edge support, making kind of a sandwich.
And why do we use sidewall construction?
Well, this offers superior edge grip and stability, especially on hard snow and ice. It also provides better power transfer and precision, making it ideal for racing and performance-oriented skis. They're also more durable, but slightly heavier. And these skis are mainly used for race skis, all-mountain skis, and freeride skis.
And then you talked about a second type of construction.
Well, yeah, that would be cap construction. So what it is that the top sheet wraps over the core and down the edges, eliminating these vertical sidewalls from the sidewall construction. And so the ski is effectively sealed like a cap.
And like compared to sidewall construction, why would we use cap construction?
So these are lighter than the sandwich or sidewall constructions. They make skis more maneuverable and forgiving. They're also less expensive to produce, and they typically offer a softer flex that is better for beginner and intermediate skis.
And you talked about like we use the sidewall construction on race skis and all mountain skis. Where would we use that?
Cap construction, it's mainly found in beginner skis, but also park skis because of its softer flex, and sometimes some all mountain skis. Well, these are two main ski constructions, but there's also semi-cap, torsion box, carbon fiber, and many more constructions.
And we've talked about bikes, helmets, skis, and how their evolution and how they're built. Now that kind of leads us to it's an actual business, and there's a market for these technologies.
These are huge businesses. I mean, like we mentioned, Fox, RockShox. There's a bunch of ski brands. There's too many to count on my fingers, and all of these, they're such a big industry, and certainly every year the products actually evolve. And these actual industries, they're almost like native to certain countries. I mean, like us, Canada, we have these Rockies, these mountains, these flat grounds, these ski hills. All of these, they're a big industry for Canada, since there's a lot of companies that are actually born here.
Yeah, like Norco in Rocky Mountain in the bike industry, which came from the western side of Canada in BC. And then just here in Quebec, we have a new ski company that was recently created, or at least known to the population, Ferrel Skis. which is really amazing that we can see like these brands grow, and like Norco and Rocky Mountain are now worldwide. Ferrell isn't there yet, but I'm sure I'm sure it will be.
I mean, because of these brands, these sports and the places we go, honestly, it's a great industry. It's one I highly support. So with all of that and like our conclusion that this industry and these evolution of sports have in fact changed how we view and how we actually perform these sports. I think we've talked about all of the points we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, Kelvin, I think that's a wrap for today's episode of Full Send FM. From the old and awkward gear to these high-tech machines we ride today, it is clear that innovation have revolutionized these mountain sports that we all know and love, whether it's the introduction of protective gear that keeps us safe, or suspension, or even new technologies that make our skiing feel flawless. There will always be progress in these industries.
We truly hope that this episode has taught you enough so that next time you go to the mountains, you acknowledge that there is a history behind every piece of equipment that you are riding.
Oh, Kelvin, I've just looked outside and it looks like a pow day. Gotta catch the slopes. Until next time, we'll go on and ride these loose terrains and drop off them cliff. See ya!